Hello everybody and welcome back to week number 10 of stage 2 of the Quake Pro League. My name is Ketchup and I'm joined by ZSX on the desk. We have 3 more series to get through and the next one is quite a doozy. It's going to be Cypher and it's going to be vengeurR. These are 2 players that people have wanted to watch go head-to-head in a tournament setting for a while. It's finally going to happen. It's the celebration of vengeurR, the young blood who has just been on this crazy efficient climb for quite a while, and just still proving that he is one of the absolute greatest in the world. And then Cypher, the old champ, one of the absolute Quake legends historically, who has started to finally be able to find his feet in Quake Champions, and he's finally starting to play at that level that we know him as. This is the Cypher that a lot of people remember, and hopefully we can see his climb just continue to go even further still.
Yeah, and he's obviously been a little bit inconsistent, partly because of rustiness and partly because the game isn't entirely adept for his style. But when Cypher turns up to play, there is very few players that show the level of skill he's able of reaching. A perfect balanced play style. His aim has come on so much in recent years. He's always had amazing aim, but I think since the latter days of Quake Live, he really progressed in that department, in my opinion. And he's just probably the most perfectly rounded player when he's playing well. But that's the big if for me, is that he's known for having these degrees of inconsistency, particularly online. So if he can keep up that really high level, then he's always a force to be reckoned with.
Now, on the contrary to that, one player that is always in their element online is vengeurR. When you think of players that are hungry and just really eager to compete and just become the best they can be, vengeurR's kind of like at the top of that list. He's one of the youngest players in the scene. He is extremely efficient, and in a short space of time, he went from being a player that everyone, you respect him as a talented player to, okay, this kid's one of the best in the world, period. And that's only really continuing to just progress even further. I think get some access to some great training partners. Yeah. He's massively talented himself. I know you're a big fan.
I'm a huge fan. I think the great thing about watching vengeurR is that his overall skill set is unbelievable, but he just makes the game look so easy. Like, there's some players you watch and they hit incredible shots, and it's big one-offs and they look incredibly flashy and it's wow moments, but he's consistently hitting amazing shots. But the way in which he plays, it's so smooth, it's calculated, it just looks easy for him. And because he's not a big name, it's always a little bit of a surprise when he's taking maps off everyone, but he's consistently beating everyone. So there's no reason why we should be surprised anymore.
There was a point in stage 1, Italy, where he was actually a lot of people's pick to potentially win that entire tournament, because he was just undefeated for so long, just beating everybody, regardless of who they were. And it all just kind of started. The only thing about vengeurR is his inexperience on LAN. And that was his biggest setback, was when the chips are down and he's playing offline, then that would somewhat alter, I think, his performance. But the longer we go through Pro League and the more offline LANs that we have, the more that shifts. And the more experience he gets, he becomes more of the vengeurR that you are familiar with, regardless of format. We have got the picks and bans ready to go, so we can see what to expect as we are very close to loading into our first map. And there was an exciting pick in this lineup, an Athena pick coming out from vengeurR on the final map. Blood Covenant is said to be, really her strongest map and most consistent map at the very least. And vengeurR, he has played her before. He's not shy of those high execution champions.
No, and once again, Cypher picking those medium champions with vanilla Quake physics. It's his bread and butter, it's what he's used to, it's where he thrives. Whereas vengeurR having a little bit more spice to his overall picks. I think, again, it's pretty meta. The BJ and Blood Covenant's a slight anomaly to me, but ultimately I think the banning of the Nyx and the pick in the BJ is signifying that Cypher just wants to brawl. He knows that vengeurR wants to fight, so he'll reciprocate that. But otherwise, apart from that, it's pretty standard across the board. vengeurR is obviously a lover of the Doomslayer on Awoken, which is something I am also think is a very powerful champion, and no one else has picked it today. So let's see how he uses it.
Which is quite surprising, because it's only been as of recently where Doomslayer was picked almost every time on Awoken. It's like an absolute staple champion that you would just expect it. And if you don't see it, it's like, oh wow, no one went Doomslayer today. Whereas as we progress, it becomes less popular. You know, there are different picks, and there's a lot of champions in the pool, right? So sometimes players will just feel a bit more inclined to go with something that they just are more comfortable with, or whatever it might be. The one thing about the BJ pick on Blood Covenant is which we had seen, and I believe it was Flea and I had questioned it. Maybe stage 1, I think it was. And it was the big reason of BJ's effectiveness on that map was the dual-wield machine guns in a situation where you would normally have a rail. Like you have those long-range fights where you've got the teleporter and the mega, double heavy machine gun versus a rail that's missing. You just like delete, and it's like another extra long-range answer. So I do wonder if Cypher has that in store.
Yeah, it is. It's a very valid point because it's unbelievably powerful, and there are plenty of opportunities to use it. So it is definitely a good reason to do it.
I wonder if we see. I'm super curious now. Prediction wise for results, what do you think?
I think it's going to be a 2-1, but I can't say to whom. Vengeur's more consistent, so I'm tempted to side with him. But I mean, you always feel bad saying Cypher's not going to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fight. I think it felt that way even when Cypher was kind of like, I think at his most inconsistent in tournament, like early in Quake Champions, where he wasn't quite hitting those strides, but especially now where he's kind of almost like doing a perfect job of just reminding everyone who he is and where he came from, the legendary status that Cypher's been able to bring to the table, and he ticks off a 21-second frag there on vengeurR. Gets a good spawn. He is just about to run out of LG ammo, so that's kind of unfortunate, and he does somewhat hesitate to grab the small health bubble. That could have been a 2-0, but a slight misplay there, running out of some of the ammo and then sticking around for that light bubble. He just needed one little bit of SSG. That would have done the job.
But back in the day, this was one of Cypher's better maps, and we all know that vengeurR loves this map. Galena is very powerful, and I'm sure if vengeurR didn't have it, Cypher would probably pick it as well. So, both getting good picks that they like and playing on a map they love.
And yeah, Cypher now, he's just trying to clear out those totems. He wants absolutely nothing to do with it. There's some initial LG coming out, the rocket jump from Cypher, just trying to save his skin. The problem is he's quite weak. And now, a built-in delay. Quite sizable there between Heavy and Mega. Now vengeurR controls the center. But for how long? So he's trying to push his way out, catching him mid-jump with the LG, so there's some excellent damage being distributed there. And now vengeurR, it's all about wasting time and just keeping him on the end of a leash while we wait for Mega to spawn. Ooh, vengeurR in and out. Perfect placement. He's not going to be challenged at all here. Woo. I love the use of the LG here from Cypher. He's getting a good sort of sniff of the rhythm of the strafe jumping from vengeurR. So he's kind of getting a little bit of extra juggle here. It's not the first time he's caught him off guard with that too. But now vengeurR, he's just looking for that one opportunity. He knows he hasn't taken damage here, so maybe he might have been able to send Cypher on somewhat of a wild goose chase. Now he's going to give him position away with a rocket here all the same. Mega's going to drop down, and here comes a fight. And the LG pushes him far away from the totem.
That is such a stereotypical Cypher play. As we go into more combat here, Cypher just delaying and sneaking out. But both of those plays are such a stereotypical Cypher because he is the master of dealing damage without having the reciprocal damage to him. Jumping down, dealing 30, 40, 50 damage, backing off, receiving nothing in return, and then stealing the heavy away. It's just perfect defense.
And now vengeurR, he knows the heavy's about to spawn, he has the timing, but the question is, can he stop it? No, bonus damage though, that rocket. I mean, we haven't even touched on vengeur's rockets today, but they're disgustingly good. They are,
but then so were Cypher's. He was always known for having the best rockets in the game. So it's a good battle.
Looks like he's in an unwinnable situation there, though. Cypher with plenty of health bubbles to retreat to. And now he's back up. No damage on the rockets either. Cypher sticking a little bit nicely on the left-hand side. There's been a pretty intense chase here. It's surprising the frag difference is only 1, and it's only 2-1 here, considering how hot on the trail they've been on each other. Nice rocket there from Cypher. A bit of opening damage, vengeurR around the corner. Totem's going to get dropped, but not achieving a huge deal, but the rockets are fantastic. vengeurR making it 2-2, and it's just in the nick of time. Heavy's about to spawn as well. Cypher has just spawned off a fresh stack, and he should realistically have the SSG and the rocket. vengeurR seeing that the SSG was taken, so he's likely to have it. Hang on a minute. Caught going in for the rocket behind. A little bit of a scramble there behind. There's plenty of time for the Mega to spawn, so it's about setting up who's going to be in that better position. vengeurR doesn't want to push in too early.
Very calculated game so far. 4 minutes in, only 2 frags apiece. Pretty rare for a corrupted keep. Both giving each other immense amounts of respect.
Oh, good nails. Oh, an even
Wow.
better rocket. Make that 2. 200 for 2 rockets is pretty good maths.
Yeah, and I think Venga shows glimpses of Cypher in the way in which he plays. Exceptionally good positioning in and around major items.
vengeurR taking a lot of damage. He's really dancing with the devil, sticking around there.
Both dealing lots of damage there.
Yeah, plenty of damage to get in and take that mega. Cypher's kind of tender now, though. Yeah, there's no way he can't fight for that heavy at all. 0 chance. Now, with Cypher's shoes, the question is, what does he do? It's about trying to starve. vengeurR can't realistically afford to deny the light here, though, because he's just taking the heavy. He'll be just getting rid of stack needlessly. Jump pad.
Oh, catches
he's
him
got
off
to be
guard.
dead.
Yeah,
I mean, how does Cypher escape this with his life?
I mean,
He's got him. Surely he's got him.
somehow he does. Can he? Will he rocket jump up? No, but he's going to back off to get the mega. Cypher does pick up the light, but still has no health. Has to go down here. Somehow sneaks away once again.
Perfect rocket jump just to navigate the heavy at the same time. That was calculated. And now he can finally afford to start denying the lights. He's not going to lose too much of his armor here, so we can actually justify it. But
it's the first time in quite a few minutes any one player has had a sizable stack advantage. Cypher doesn't have the lightning gun, I believe, so slightly isolated if vengeurR wants to push into a mid-round fight. Cypher needs to be wary of his positioning.
And now vengeurR, he should have some timing on the heavy at the very least. He didn't collect it, obviously, because Cypher beat him to the punch, but
surprising he did let it get away so easily. But can still protect that lightning gun area. Cypher's going to push up, though, because he knows he needs it.
Oh my word, that second rocket! From the range, he fired that. The fact he got a mid-air.
And he missed his dire orb as well, I believe. So vengeurR would have had that. And nothing he can do there, Cypher.
Not only losing the frag, but 30 fat seconds of cooldown that vengeurR's going to potentially steal away. Heavy is taken. No, he's not interested in taking the outglasses. He wants to keep that pressure laid on thick from Cypher. He chooses to retreat now. He can finally double back. Yeah, there it is. And he has a totem for his troubles.
What Cypher's done well is keeping Galena's totems in check. But at the same time, I don't think vengeurR's really put a lot of thought and effort into making sure that they're put into difficult positions, if you will. Oh, nasty.
Nice. Fantastic. You know, Cypher has collected a whole bunch of those small pickups. You can see his stack go back up, but that's nothing vengeurR has to really worry about. He's been maintaining presence on these major items. He has taken a lot of damage. He's out of rockets, though. Hang on.
This is Cypher's chance now.
This is the opening. 2 frags to just even things up, and he has over 2 minutes to do it. We've seen that one from the keep plenty of times.
And there's a good split on the items. If he gets this mega, he doesn't. He decides to push in for the kill straight away.
Wow.
He hasn't got time to get both unless he goes straight back and gets a good spawn, which he does.
Oh, no. Spawn.
Yeah, vengeurR knows he can't commit. Cypher gets both, and this is crunch time for vengeurR. We're going to see what he's made of now.
vengeurR was in a good spawn to take it, but there was
Cypher
no weapons around.
Cypher saw the totem get placed as well, which is why he hasn't gone through. Instead, rocket jumping up. vengeurR can pull completely off guard here.
And vengeurR is super weak. He's just collected a bunch of small items around here, so there's very little to retreat to.
Yeah, he's in so much trouble now.
This is not good. And Mega is next on the list. Cypher in full control, and he's got the dire orb should he need it.
Might just rocket jump up to pressure, but instead goes the low ground. vengeurR does fall off though.
Oh no! Heavy's about to spawn. Here it is. Who cares about the tome at this point? Cypher has the stack to chase this.
He's also taking away these lights, which is very painful.
He's going to concede more damage just to get rid of the totems and vengeurR. This is not good. He's had a lovely level of control the entire time, and in the last couple of minutes, it's slipping through his fingers.
The pressure's been unreal for the last minute and a half. Cypher smelled blood, and he is pursuing.
In vengeurR's position. It's the opening damage. You know, he had the SSG. How many times do we see an SSG kind of take you by surprise?
Yep.
But the opening rocket was almost a direct. It doesn't matter how much super shotgun damage you're doing to Ranger with that stack. If you get hit by that rocket, you are likely to die in that exchange. vengeurR being forced into these really tricky positions where he kind of is forced to take a fight, but he can't. Like, he just doesn't have the stack.
Exactly. Cypher's done an amazing job of just putting a stranglehold on this map, keeping the pressure on vengeurR. This is why vengeurR's forced into this very aggressive push. He's done enough to buy time to get onto the heavy, so this is his really last chance saloon now.
He has to make a push happen.
But he hasn't got a lightning gun, I believe, so Cypher can just play the distance game here. And he doesn't know he's got 3 rockets as well, so he has to hit all 3. And he hits none.
That was an opportunity. The longer it takes for Cypher to die here, the less time he's going to have. Because Cypher can just delay as well. The second he has to respawn,
Exactly.
he can begin to delay. And these defensive rockets, no! Not good news for poor old
He's just
vengeurR.
going to sit in that corridor. If vengeurR pushes in, he's going to die.
Over.
So
this is over.
It's over.
He can't chase him. He physically cannot chase him, kill him, and then get another frag in the time he's got left.
No.
This was perfectly played by Cypher, who just didn't give up at all at any point. vengeurR was in control for the vast majority of it, and at the last possible minute, stole the lead away, and then just kept it. Fantastic
Stereotypical
stuff.
Cypher. There was moments of magic from vengeurR, but at the end of the day, Cypher just was able to run away with it. And you can see, despite the fact that he was under the cosh for large periods of that match, he made sure he kept the stacks equal. You can see there's not a huge amount of difference in the major items, and Cypher came up with more damage. The way in which Cypher is able just to deal consistent damage throughout the game, no matter what position he's in, he always finds a way to get on top of you. But keep his distance and make sure he's not receiving damage. That's what separates Cypher as one of the elite players from others. And as I said, vengeurR does show glimpses of that, but vengeurR prefers a much close combat fight where he can get on top of you, and that's a bit more risky. And he did control the game, but Cypher didn't let it get away from him. And as soon as he got that last frag, we said this was going to be the big decider. He just never let up.
And we just see all these different replays here. Kind of just characteristic of some of the plays from Cypher and vengeurR. When it comes to combat, they have a very similar style.
Exactly.
And that's what makes the fights look so enjoyable to me, like particularly with their rockets. And vengeurR, he wasn't shy of hitting some out-of-this-world rockets throughout this entire map. But at the end of the day, and the final couple of minutes, that's all Cypher needed to run away with it. And that's just, I think, a clear-headed... How such a good rocket that one
was. It was lovely.
It's a clear understanding, though, of Cypher knowing what map he's on and how much time he can play with until it's crunch time, because all it takes is one frag to, chain X amount together in a short time because of the map. And this was a lot of awareness here from Cypher, who didn't give up. There's no reason to.
But you can see, all of these frags are clean. He barely received any damage from 3-5 to 6-5, basically. It was all so clean from Cypher, which meant he had the time, he had the stack, he had the weaponry to maximize his opportunity.
And then Ranger, the orb was pretty much never used as a damage source.
No, it was never
purely
used,
navigation.
And
all about just setting up those new angles where vengeurR can't escape.
It's all about positioning. That's what Cypher's game is built around. And he does it exceptionally well.
So that is map number 1. As we've seen both these players, I doubt that's going to be really kind of foreshadowing for the rest of it. You thoroughly expect vengeurR to step up for future maps. And there's still some unorthodox picks coming through that are going to kind of test Cypher's experience level of the map, of the champion pool. It's Athena is a champion that is just so... She's a bit of a question mark for a lot of players, because there are Athena players and then there are top level Athena players. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's two different kind of matchups when you watch people go head to head.
I feel like we've watched vengeurR play Athena before. I might be wrong, but it's not even a case of vengeurR stepping up. I think he played ridiculously well. It was just a great game. There's no reason why he couldn't have won that, and there's no reason why he can't win subsequent maps. I think the Athena pick, as you say, is going to be a bit of an anomaly, but I feel like I've seen vengeurR play. It might have been in practice or on stream, I can't remember, but either way, he's definitely one that can make it shine.
Stormy weather. It's really stormy here in the UK. It's rattling the studio door sometimes.
I feel slightly vulnerable.
It sounds like there's someone outside going, "Let me in," but it's literally just extreme stormy, windy weather. I think what you're thinking about is, I'm sure it was QuakeCon last year, Nosfer versus vengeurR. I'm sure it was the final map. I believe.
I feel like it was more recent than that, but
Nosfer was using Slash. I think it was Slash. It was two very fast champions, and there was an Athena. I just remember that all the clips where Nosfer is popping off, I'm sure he's against an Athena, and that is vengeurR. Who was in that matchup.
If it's Nosfer popping off, that's not a good reflection on vengeurR. Then no, I thought it was vengeurR popping off. No, I'm not wrong.
To be fair, this is week number 20 in total. There's a lot. There's been a lot of matches to get through.
Yeah, it's true. It might have been in practice. I've watched him a few times, so.
I mean, it's a good opportunity, really, to remind...
Either way, we will find out.
It's a good opportunity to remind everyone that's watching that a lot of the players, I mean, pretty much all of them, they stream Quake. And, you know, if you want to... If you find any of these players that you watch and you really enjoy watching them in Pro League, you are more than welcome to follow them on their social medias. Most of them, if not all of them, have a Twitter, Instagram, whatever it might be. But the big thing is a Twitch. These players all stream their games. So if you like any of these players, make sure you're following them on Twitch. Most of them stream Quake Champions pretty damn regularly. Most of the time it's practice. So you get a really good opportunity to just sit and watch how they play and just download knowledge, right? If there are any champions that you watch that might be a bit of a curveball, watch them in practice. Maybe they practice with it all the time. It just gives you a little bit more extra insight as to why they felt confident with it at the time.
Exactly.
And if not that, just their current form, right? And kind of what they're shaping up to look like. A little bit of comparison how they used to look compared to now. But
yeah, it's the best way to learn. Watch their personal stream because you get to see their exact POV and thought process.
And they're really happy. And a lot of the time, the players are happy to answer questions too. Like they're very interactive with their stream.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to ask about something that you've always wondered, they're probably more than happy.
Do you stream?
Do I stream?
Yes.
Every now and then, it's more Mustard. Man, the days of old. Do you remember the days when Mustard used to commentate this game?
I know.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
We talk about it still, and it's like we go, you know, we did QuakeCon one year together, and it's weird to me now because I've been rocking this solo. With you guys for so long.
Yeah.
That
one half of the condiments.
Yeah. Well, it's it's all good. It's all good, but it's still
Was it mustard and mayo back in the day? That was the meme, wasn't it?
Oh god. Someone called us ketchup and tomato once as well.
Ketchup and tomato.
And they just stuck with it forever. There was no escaping it. But Cypher versus vengeurR are woken up next. This is a very favourable map for vengeurR historically. So we might very well see a 1-1 here. It depends on how Cypher brings it. By no means is vengeurR untouchable on this map. He has lost the likes of base and stuff like that before. But across the board, this is a pretty damn consistent map for him.
Yeah, you're right to say. It's probably his most favourite map, Cypher, knowing exactly what's going on there.
vengeurR taking a lot of damage there. There is a light. And, you know, the elements of the double jump, you know, it's not just the double jump here for Doomslayer, it's that he's trying to go for an angle. I think we all felt, even though there was no shot, we all felt that.
That was like slow motion from both sides.
His life flashed before his angry red eyes.
Yeah.
But I was just saying, it's the double jump, it's not just for navigation, it's things like jump pads where you would otherwise be quite vulnerable, or, you know, the ledge grab if you're not quite within range for it. A double jump just at the right time just limits how much you're in that.
Exactly. Yeah, there are very creative ways to use that ability that people don't realize, even at the highest level.
You can fake people out with a jump pad. It's so good to see.
Yeah.
When someone uses the jump pad and they immediately double jump, and then
you can dodge so many rockets because most players are too used to shooting the ground. And it's the small things like this that I talk about that it changes the dynamics of the game, because a lot of these players that have come through.
Whoa! No! Cypher just trying to play Super Mario Brothers with that rocket. And unfortunately, that doesn't quite work out for him. It's a wonderful start, but vengeurR is still very weak. He's going to have to spam for his life to try and survive here. And double jump again over the rockets.
And that's what I mean. Most players were developed through Quake, the old Quake editions, where those type of mechanics weren't part of the game, and so your natural innate tendencies to aim at certain areas, and it's just not effective. So you have to readjust your thinking.
vengeurR definitely reliable with this health, so he's got to be very careful. Even down here, there is a light armor, but that feels too much like the forbidden fruit to run and grab that light, especially with Cypher, who's already gone in and denied it. Wonderful denial here. vengeurR really playing with his life.
Okay.
Double jump. You know, you were just talking about double jumps and the unique angles and this extra element that people might not be used to.
vengeurR could hear me. He's showing us what he means. He's also showing us why Doom is so powerful on this map. Because not only does it allow you to control that mid ground, it's one of the things I haven't actually fully grasped, is that it creates so many angles from the low ground. The fact that you can control that, you can control the low ground around the red and still hit your opponent when they're on the, technically with a positional advantage. So not only does it mess with their aim, you can hit them in return.
And it's not the kind of common shots that you see, because it requires a double jump and a very precise angle, so they're not easy shots either. It's the kind of stuff that you really only see consistently at this level of play. So again, it comes back to that level of experience and being caught off guard. You have to be ready for so many things on a map-by-map basis that you can't possibly be ready for every double jump angle that is there.
No, and it's one of those things where he makes it look easy, whereas it's one of those don't try this at home kids, because if you try it at home, you're just going to jump into rockets and rails all day. But the way in which vengeurR does it is he times it around the shots of Cypher, and he's doing it in ways where he's the one that could just about glimpse over while making it difficult for Cypher to hit him. So it looks easy, but trust me, it's not, basically.
That rail slightly fails to hit its mark there. Would have been a 4-1 for Cypher and an opening. Perfect play on the rocket. He knows that vengeurR, those rails kind of tender, right? And he's going to try and retreat down to some lights to heal back up. And Cypher was ready for the angle.
But now Cypher has the major stack advantage. So he has not got piercing sight, however. So this is the only sigh of relief. Not sure if vengeurR realizes that. And he hasn't used his own ability yet, vengeurR.
Yeah, on the subject of the abilities, that is one of the weaknesses of Doom, is that when you play Doom, vengeurR in a 1v1 is kind of risky. It's very situational. And in turn, that means the Berserk's never really going to get used. So when you play Doom, you kind of go into Doom with the understanding of the opponent will have their ability back faster because they have 100% of the hourglasses.
Exactly.
There's no way you can deny them because you won't be using Berserk.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you sometimes you maybe just tempted to use it just to use it, but end of the day, even that's quite risky. Cypher now realizing he's definitely got a good advantage here, playing slightly more aggressive, but he's very, very early.
Ooh.
Does get away with that.
Well, that's one way to try and bring yourself back into it. Cypher's ready for, just in case the teleporter was used for the max damage. Now vengeurR laying that pressure on, piercing sight gets used. Can he hit a rail? He can. Wonderful shot, but vengeur's not going to give him any more angles for the duration of that sight. And he has got the advantage. vengeurR already out of there, and he's looking to just double back. He needs to restack just a little bit. He has to concede the Mega, but again, at this point, it's more of a... He knows that fighting for the Mega at this health, it's not an amazing idea because he just does not have stack to do it.
Securing the high ground around the item. Just because that little move, he also gets some damage out, which was absolutely perfect for what he wanted to do.
Ooh, beautiful rocket jump instead of using the jump pad, just to be a little bit more unpredictable and less easy to just punish going up the jump pad traditionally. Piercing sight gets used. He needs bonus rails. Unfortunately, that one missing. It is unfortunate for him because vengeurR, he's been able to restack back up to a basic stack.
Yes. vengeur's doing a good job of keeping out of sight and mind here. But Cypher as well, realizing there's 4 minutes to play, only 3 frags in it. He's not going to push anything at the moment. Happy to concede, picking up the items and dealing some damage from range. If he manages to string a couple back-to-back, that's when we'll see he can come out to be aggressive.
Just short of seeing him. Yeah, he just missed him. Both had the same idea. In this case, Cypher looking to take Mega, but vengeurR sets up 2 fantastic rockets that put Cypher really weak, considering the stack advantage he was working on. Piercing sight, that's not even a word. No. Just try and set up a shot here.
But what vengeurR did there is he went full man mode and blocked Cypher's pathway to deal damage onto the heavy, so he got it extremely clean.
Ooh, that's an unreturned rail. Bad news for Cypher. In the case of one shot, he's the one that's been forced onto the back foot now. The danger is he's on the back foot when he doesn't have the lead. vengeurR 4-1. A much more significant stack here. At this point, Cypher, he just needs to try and get out of this position. But it's fair to assume that vengeurR, I mean, he's heard the noise, and he's just holding angle. Piercing sight, not for movement, but for just where is he looking? He's just trying to get the blind spot.
But he's doing a great job of wasting damage to Cypher is delaying the push. So every time he does it, it's another 15, 20 seconds plus before Cypher can think about doing it. And already he's chipped down the time to only 2.5 minutes remaining. And once again, he's done enough to keep Cypher away. And he stole the Mega.
Time wasted is time won if you're in the lead with this situation. vengeurR just needs to ride that clock, because in just over 2 minutes, he's going to win by 4-1 frags at this rate. A whole bunch of work and damage done early on. From that point, it's just been eluding him the entire time.
Great use of the double jump here to avoid a secondary rail, because Cypher hit that rail quite early on. A lot of other champions probably would have got hit there. Oh, and that might be game over now, you know.
Perfect read. A perfect read of how he's going to retreat. He had the timing on the Mega in his head. Waited for it. Should be finishing easy.
And that's a good game. I mean, immaculate play by vengeurR. He was under pressure from Cypher for such a long time. Yes, Cypher didn't make any real urgent plays, but at the same time, the reason he didn't is because vengeurR was always in the right position where Cypher never felt comfortable to do so. So whilst it's technically not over, I don't see a way back in for Cypher with the next minute and a half. He hears that as well, so there's no need to commit, just play safe.
Just looking for rails at this point. The further we can keep Cypher behind, the happier we'll be here, as it's just over a minute. Should be vengeurR taking another victory on Awoken. To the surprise of no one, really. This really was a map that you had fared to assume he was going to win.
No, but I guess it's more the manner in which he won. Yes, it wasn't a crushing victory, but it's one of those...
Direct.
Even though you didn't win by a lot of frags, as an opponent, it's one of those where you feel like...
1 minute
I don't know what to do, sort of thing, right? Because vengeurR was just playing so spot on in his defensive play.
And this is a game of runaway now. You see Cypher, and he's not wanting to chase it. As you just hold an angle, when you know you're safe to go through the teleporter, do so. Cypher has no choice but to chase now. I mean, he has already passed that point where the win is impossible, but it's all about keeping the flow, keeping the rhythm, stay in form for the next map and final map. Should be another frag gone down. Impressive little rail. And that's why I think just not giving up in these last 30 seconds, just getting frags like that, so you're a little bit more limber and warmed up for the next map.
It's always nice to finish with a frag, particularly if you struggle to get anything all game.
Rocket jump. That crispy rocket jump. Is he going to try and get one more frag? Oh, berserk. Oh, no.
No, you didn't get berserked on.
He got berserked on.
He got punched through the face.
And he exploded. Shoutouts to Doom Eternal.
You win.
I'm so hyped for that. It's not appropriate for now, I admit. I'm excited though.
Careful with what you say, sir.
Super. I can't. I'm hyped, man. I'm hyped. What can I say? That was a good game.
That was a good
game. But it's good from vengeurR. Just really solid play. I mean, he started it. He picked Doom and did a berserk at the end. I can't not get hyped for that.
Can people start picking Doom again, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
all I got to say.
That's that. That's this picture.
It's
slightly. It's a little circle. But it's not the God mode one, but it's the
pretty ugly.
It's the regular one. You do not talk about Doomslayer like that. Do not disrespect Doomslayer in that manner. He's a beautiful man.
I'll take him on.
With the finest buzz cut in all the land.
I'll take him on.
No, you actually might be as swole as Doomslayer. You could do the coolest costume ever.
Saying that, to be fair, I remember for the Doom Eternal launch, they actually hired an actor to do Doomslayer who was like this 6'8", massive, like monster of a man who in a Doom suit to go to the events. It was incredible.
I can believe that.
He was my idol.
Absolutely. I want to be him when I grow up. That's it, that's for sure. But, I mean, fundamentally, though, this map across the board was just a great display from vengeurR. It's kind of a celebration of what makes him so talented. Yeah. And Cypher just didn't really have much of a footing there. He just kept getting hit by these crazy good rails. vengeurR is kind of the master of inventing these weird angles. Doomslayer helps that so much thanks to the double jumps. A couple of those frags went down to that. And it is the underrated utility that the double jump brings to this map in particular.
Exactly. The way he played on the defense was great, but the most interesting thing was that double jump usage, as we said, to ensure even on low ground situations where other champions would be vulnerable, vengeurR could capitalize and make the most out of those top opportunities. I like that. Splat.
There's nothing. It's one of the most satisfying frags you can possibly get when you pop berserk. You have to get them to miss the rail first, because you can't just go in. Because if you click, you're stuck in a straight line, so they will just eat every time.
But old school Doomslayer was so annoying to play and to be play against, because you'd be flying around the map and you get hit from like 35 yards away.
Oh, the old hitbox.
Yeah.
From the days of Blood Run, where people were on the floor and they whoosh, Superman.
You could just double jump up and just Superman through your face. But then there was other times where you were playing him and he would you would punch them in close range and nothing would happen. It was just bizarre. But
they took the best parts. When they designed Doomslayer, they took the best parts of the combat of Doom 2016 and stuck it in Quake. The double jump and the glory kill, the berserk zooming in is kind of like a glory kill style mechanic.
I think they could tweak it a little bit more to make it a bit more than a meme skill now, because it only gets used to run away. And if someone gets a kill with it...
It's not very Doomslayer to use it to run away, I will admit.
No, that...
In other modes, it's fine. Like, in other modes, you won't use berserk to run away in like a free-for-all or a TDM. Yeah. But in a 1v1, it's because because you're stuck in melee, right?
Exactly.
You can't cancel it.
That's the fine balance in that it obviously has to be balanced across a whole host of other modes. And if you tweak it in one-on-one, then in free-for-all, everyone's just going to be running around splatting faces. But
like the good old days.
But even still,
that's how I got all my
even
frags.
still, it's kind of a bit of a joke if someone gets as we just laughed there with the kill with the ability, when that's what it's kind of meant to be like.
But it put a smile on my face at a sec.
It's meant to like reflect the power of the Doomslayer.
You at least you explode at least. There is that. He pops.
Yeah.
But this is a map that so this one is a bit more interesting to us, purely on the basis of vengeurR with the Athena mobility, and then Cypher rocking the BJ here. We've seen BJ actually used to successful effect on Blood Covenant, and it has kind of lied within the range. You don't always have access to a railgun, and when you don't, these kind of right here where you have the Mega and the long corridor in the distance, 2 heavy machine guns versus a rail can still... there's the speed. There it is. Yeah, 2 machine guns and range can be just as effective as a rail for many reasons on this map. So it's an extra thing to worry about.
I think it's a completely valid theory, and I hope we see something along those lines. It does make complete sense.
We'll see if it's... because it's going to be essentially... the BJ and the damage output will turn Athena into a glass cannon. Absolutely. It's... oh,
that was not expected.
Whoops. But Athena being pretty much... and yeah, here's that dual wield already coming out.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's the damage.
Look at that damage.
You would think that someone at this range with a railgun is the one with the advantage. Hell no. Just an accurate machine gun, 2 of them out from far away, you're dead. And the BJ has the advantage there.
Yeah, 100%.
Perfectly put to good use. 1-0 there, Cypher. Barely scratched in that exchange.
It's a novel use of that skill, but end of the day, heavy machine gun on this map has always been very powerful. vengeurR caught completely off guard somehow there. I guess he maybe tried to use his hook, but maybe messed it up. I'm not too sure.
I am concerned about this because when we've seen Athena wreck house, she has a fantastic start, and it's kind of a game of bullying the entire time. BJ will turn this champion into a glass cannon.
Yeah, it's a momentum-based champion for sure.
And this should be another frag, even with that rail. It matters not, because that Mega has just spawned. So you're in this position now where vengeurR now has to recover, and the grappling hook is essentially being used just to obviously get from point A to point B faster. Problem is now Cypher has a decently sized lead. He has all the weapons he could want. So that increased Athena mobility, unless Athena is going into attack, is nothing Cypher has to worry about.
No, at the minute Cypher's playing very comfortably, and you rightly say he's not overcommitting. He's using his heavy machine gun to chip down, occasional rail. That's what he needs to do at this point in time, because you're right, Athena is a glass cannon. That's the problem with her.
There's that verticality coming through. Getting himself a rail gun ready to rock. Yeah, and the dual wheel pop just in case vengeurR had any funny ideas. Yeah, hang on, this is an opportunity. He misses the rail. This might be it. Actually, no, vengeurR doesn't choose to make the push.
The passive regeneration is also pretty nice, not gonna lie. Ooh, very nice.
Pasted. Spawn.
Oh no.
Spawn trapped. And now it's Athena mobility. Wait, was that a bait?
Yeah, it was a bait.
And Cypher, I think, was thinking next level.
Oh no! That's so frustrating.
All that work undone in a flash. 2 spawn traps.
Frustrating.
And Cypher likely to be frustrated after that, you think?
100%. Once, yeah, twice. Ugh.
Eye roll moment for sure if you're on the receiving end. But vengeurR, I mean, plays the mechanics. If there's something to be used, he'll use it, and that's what competitive play is all about. If it's there to be used. And nice rail just to shut down that instant dual wield. And Cypher was able to collect the hourglasses at least. Oh, perfect rocket. Just shy of setting things up, and it's crazy really how just like that vengeurR snatched the lead away 4-3. And a lot of work done by Cypher undone in the blink of an eye.
And now vengeurR with the complete advantage, playing that high ground around the curve. Cypher's in a lot of trouble.
Dual wheel through. Can't match the rockets.
Yeah, entirely expected by vengeurR there. Obviously he needed to hit all of them, but in that close quarter range with vengeur's rockets, that's what you should expect. a spawn from Cypher though. Important rail, meaning vengeurR can, that Cypher can now get on that heavy cleanly for once.
And now vengeurR starting to stack back up. Super shy, the jump pad.
He has his hook if he wants to go across, which he does.
Just in time for Cypher to use the jump pad, it looks like. Just dawning on that 5-minute warning. But now Cypher has loads of work because it's going to sort of start to rear its head again.
5-minute warning.
Should vengeurR start to change his plan, which is actually kind of... we're seeing that a little bit here where he is already starting to be a little bit more evasive in how he's kind of just generally approaching this. When we have a few more minutes down on the clock, it will then be, yes, BJ has damage, but it will be BJ's mobility versus Athena, who will be running away from him for a few minutes, and how will he catch her?
Yeah.
You know, vengeurR has to do the work to build that lead, to be in that position.
Yeah, I was about to say, Cypher did a great job of building a stack, but look where he's at now. 2 rockets in a row, 2 rails before that, a couple of ticks of heavy machine gun.
Oh no!
And
the
Cypher's dead.
Play.
Yeah, and Cypher's dead. And vengeurR hasn't received really a lick of damage in the last minute or two.
That was a phenomenal decision from vengeurR. You know, you start to weaken someone, you've denied specific lights, and you kind of start to think, well, what ones are left? And he has to retreat and heal up, so why would I not? Nice little hook there, just to land near Catacombs at the top, but...
Since that early exchange, we haven't really seen Cypher use the heavy machine gun dual wield. And it's partly because vengeur's positioning's been a lot better, but yeah, it's just, again, hasn't had an opportunity of anything.
Yeah, and that mobility is starting to really shine fully at the moment.
That's the one thing about Athena, is that probably quicker than anyone else in the game. If there's an opportunity and she has hooks up, then suddenly her grapples, she can just go, and you're done
like
for. Yeah, and or you can get away as well, right?
Unless the use of the machine guns are used, this could almost be seen as somewhat of a counter, where we just saw Cypher with the dual-wield LGs. All it took was one grappling hook
and
to go up top, and LGs, it's not even close to reaching you.
It's not just speed, as you rightly say, it's verticality, and that's so powerful in this game.
And speed instantly used there, though, just to evade. Most champions in that position would be stuck between a rock and a hard place. vengeurR almost found an opening to escape. But speaking of openings, this is Cypher's golden ticket to maybe get himself back in this fight. Manages to hit one rail, hits a second. Is he going to swap weapons or keep it? Goes in for the LG. And amidst the weapon swaps, though, taking a lot of machine gun damage. He has to stick around. I mean, he has to try and get a frag here. He hasn't got a lot of time. vengeurR's ready. He has the SSG and the splash doesn't kill him. That's an unfortunate fight near the heavy. He just stuck to the rail for a bit too long.
Yeah, not sure why he didn't. He hit 2 great opening rails, and even though vengeurR had picked up the heavy, you know how weak he is.
Patience.
Lovely.
Patience. He's going to get up to 25 stack
but
here.
It's so low.
50 with
There's
no
no
armor.
way he can challenge for that heavy.
vengeurR looking for him. Oh, I didn't quite catch him. Cypher still going in. vengeurR didn't have it in sight. And now 2 minutes on the clock to get 3 frags versus a very mobile Athena. We'll see if that's possible.
It is a tall order to chase down an Athena, but Cypher does now have pretty much full stack.
This is what we discussed earlier, where vengeurR, he's done sufficient work to have the lead, where he can start playing this runaway game, where the mobility starts to really shine.
Exactly.
You know, the start of the map, you talk about mobility. Yeah, the mobility's there, but BJ just needs to, you know, sneeze on you with dual wield and you can go down.
Yeah, but vengeurR does have good full basic stack essentially, so.
And then he's out. And he has to now self-damage to even chase it.
He fell down as well, so that's going to waste another 30 seconds.
Jump pad. Oh, nice little play there from Cypher, actually.
But you can see, once again, he grappled through the hallway, and that speed caught Cypher completely off guard, and vengeurR took no damage.
From what we've seen in Quake Pro League, it almost looks like Athena is like the #1 champion that can really deceive opponents with mobility. Like, she can be so many places at any given moment. Understandably, a lot of these players, they have mental timers in their heads. They know champion matchups. They know how far at this point is this champion likely to be that I can give up this angle or whatever it might be. Athena seems to be the most common occurrence of a champion that just throws that theory out the window because it's so hard to gauge where she'll be.
Exactly. It's not only that, but the speed and the dynamics of the way she moves is never consistent. Like an Anarchy and even to a Slash and a Clutch to a certain degree, yes, they have bursts of speed, but it's a consistent speed. Whereas the grapple comes out of nowhere, and it's a change in the physics, and that really does like that. There, you can't expect that or account for that in your aim. It's all reaction.
Oh yeah, because that's not just the grappling hook; that's the swing.
Exactly. There's so much that goes into it.
Beautiful final frag, vengeurR. That was a hard-fought fight, and it was the 2-1 that you had predicted. You couldn't predict it at the time, but vengeurR is going to take that victory versus Cypher. He had to fight for it by all accounts.
Yeah,
that was not easy, but. Second Athena gets going, it's just, you can't get tired of watching this champion. I really feel like you can't. She's just fun to watch.
She's probably the most fun to watch for people that knows how to play her. It wouldn't be fun to watch if I was playing her.
we discussed this a couple of times over past broadcasts where it's, surely she has one of the absolute highest skill ceilings. You know, to make her work, you know.
I think so. Partly because there's so much you can do with her, and partly because it's a limited resource as well. The fact is that, unlike a Slash again or a Clutch, where they have, again, as we literally just said, the burst of speed and the maximum speed potential, if you overcommit with Athena's resources and you don't have any grapples, you are pretty much the most useless champion in the game for the period of time until you don't have any more. And so yeah, it's a fine art to have that balance of when to commit. Plus the fact that she's a light champion, if you overcommit and don't make it work, you're certainly dead. So there's so much that goes into making her successful. But if you can, you see what happens. You are unbelievably agile in both attack and in defense. You can get into positions that no other champions can in a blink of an eye. It's basically like having 3 Ranger's orbs and burst of speed coupled into it. It's just incredible.
And that's a great display from vengeurR, who's no doubt going to be feeling good after that. When we cannot get around the immediate, the spawn trapping that he did to really kind of rob that victory back. But it's what he did from that point, and it's the extra dynamics where if Athena can't really get going, and she is far behind, then you kind of just stick to her. It's historically been kind of tricky for her to get going, but. Yeah. The second she gets that 1 inch, she can run away with it, and the longer Pro League's been going on, the more she has started to shine.
And I was about to say that I don't even think there's a map I wouldn't say she's strong on, just because of the way she can be played and the variety of her skill set. Somewhere like Ruins, maybe less so because there's less ceilings to kind of use the swing momentum, but even still, the fact that you can use it on the floor and there are multiple levels means that virtually any map she can be powerful on. And I do expect over the forthcoming months and seasons that her player base of potential will grow.
I can definitely see that coming, because we're just at a level where the level of play is really high too.
Yeah.
So like the fact that sometimes in other games something being really hard to use might actually make it quite an unattractive option. But Quake players are something else. I think, like, genuinely, as someone who's involved in like mobile games, the level of skill for like the top level Quake base, the people in the Quake Pro League, you're so familiar with there being really hard to use characters or champions or whatever it might be. It's actually a common use that people don't use it because it's just hard, man. I haven't got that kind of like, I'm focusing on this stuff. Whereas Quake players, they're just like, okay, just learn it. It's really impressive.
I think the great thing about the Quake Pro League, that it stimulated growth in the scene, in that prior to now that you're playing the best opponents week in, week out, and everyone's mixing up strategy and trying different things, there was a time at the start of the game where you could be successful playing to your strengths, and that was generally based around, for most of the players, things like a Razor or a Visor or a Ranger, etc. The vanilla Quake mechanic skill set. Whereas now, to be successful, you need to capitalize upon the strengths of all the champions, and you need to be pushed outside your comfort zone. And that's why we're seeing a lot more flexibility in these picks and bans.
Okay, so we have 2 more series left. Only a little bit more left, but our next one is going to be a real heavy hitter. It's going to be the QuakeCon champ versus Stage 1 champ. 2 champions collide head-to-head, Kilson versus Cooler. You can always expect some fantastic games when they go head-to-head, and they really are some of the absolute top of the food chain. It's going to be good, I think. You can expect it.
It's a matchup that needs no introduction. I mean, we've done analysis on all the players today, and I'm not going to. because I don't need to explain why these players are as good as they are and why they are so respected. It speaks for themselves.
Yep, we're going to load into Cooler versus Kilson in a few minutes' time. While we do that, we are once more going to cut to a quick break. Hope you enjoy the stream so far. It's going to be a good one. Week number 10 of Stage 2 of Quake Pro League. Back in a bit.
Hello everybody and welcome to another Quake Pro League interview where today I'm joined by Cooler. Now in Italy you used to tour as the champion, but during stage 2 it seems like you struggled to put up that same dominant performance. Is there any particular reason why you haven't been able to achieve the same during the online play?
I think the main thing is just online with like ping and just feeling something like that. I mean, online it's something special for me, and actually my feeling online is way more better because, I don't know, maybe mindset or something.
So what areas of your playstyle are key for you to win back-to-back events?
I'm not winning events actually, it was just first one for 10 years, so... But yeah, staying on top is, I don't know, I think it's experience in general. So I've put a lot of time and work on my game since 2002, let's say. So yeah, it was like step by step, and I've built something special, I guess, at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there that you've been playing for a long time and sort of been able to take that experience and turn it into results within the game. Is there any kind of differences that you see in your approach to practice as opposed to sort of when you started playing all those years ago?
I don't know. The game is different in general. I mean, Quake Champions. Yeah, and we had to adapt anyways. I don't know, maybe styles are pretty different because Quake 3 or Quake Live was a completely different story for me. So yeah, I think that's it.
So based on your current form, what are your goals and expectations going into Poland?
I think it's gonna be the same as usual. I think we're gonna see the same players on the top, and I hope me sharing it with them, of course. But we'll see.
Are there any specific players that you kind of feel understand your playstyle well, and as a consequence you kind of struggle to play against?
I don't think my style is any deal for any players on top, because everyone knows each other pretty well and about styles, about everything, to be honest. So it's more about to adapt and just showing your best on a special day, let's say. And like in general, I'm very excited to be in Poland, and especially on IM Katowice, because I hope to be on the action with Dota 2 and CS. So I hope to be sharing those events. So, and let me put a lot of pressure on my preparing for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a huge event, definitely. So this week we have champion versus champion going head to head as you take on Kilson. How have you been preparing for this match, and what do you feel differentiates yourself versus Kilson?
I don't feel any difference, to be honest. I mean, online is not a big deal for me anyways. Yeah, I will just try my best, and I wish best of luck to Kilson. And we've been playing many times last year, so it's gonna be tough, and it's gonna be interesting for everyone, I hope. yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. Good luck in your match this weekend. Welcome everybody to Quake Pro League, where today I am here with Kilson. Now, you're coming into the Stage 2 finals as one of the favourites to win the event and etch your name on the belt for the second time. How have you been preparing for this event, and what areas are you kind of trying to focus on in your preparation?
I mean, I'm trying to get into the shape. I've been, at QuakeCon, I'd say, pretty much looking for exactly that shape, because my mind been very, very clear there about every step I made, and yeah, I mean, it's getting better and better, and I'm not scared of any.
Now, you've had the chance to play everybody else in the division. Who are the standout players that you find difficult to play against, and why is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's always very tough to play against Razy. He has like a very strong overall playstyle, and he's not doing like too aggressive moves which you can punish very well. He's always very careful about those situations, so he's always very scary to play against. I would even say like even more than anyone else, to be fair.
Is there anybody that has particularly surprised you with their results?
No, I don't see any really surprising results. I mean, I knew like who's really practicing and who tries to keep some practice going between the weeks from week 1 starting. So yeah, so far no surprises for me at all.
Now, as you mentioned earlier, obviously you're going to be facing up against Cooler this weekend, which, as you said, is a match that everybody's been waiting for. How important for you is it to be finishing as a winner in this game?
Actually, not that much. It won't change like too much in the bracket for me when it comes down to the seeding, when I'm losing those points. But it doesn't matter. I'm playing every single match, every single map. Even just in practice, I'm trying to win, no matter what, and that's the same way I'm going into this matchup. But I feel very good for this matchup, and really looking forward to it.
Now, obviously, we can see you sporting your Big Clan jersey there. Can you talk the audience through kind of your life as part of Big Clan, and do you just utilize the Big House at all?
So yeah, I mean, I joined Big like 2 years ago. Should be known very much for Counter-Strike in the beginning, and yeah, I mean, it's a German folk there, so we had really good talks. I also know quite some people in there personally since quite a while. I started playing around 2003, so yeah, I do know quite some people there for a very long time. For Goppy, for example, I met him in many events, and yeah, I mean, we get along very well, and cheering each other up, and yeah, trying to push ourselves forward.
Yeah, I mean, it must be nice to be part of the sort of community that the Big Clan kind of brings. It's sort of synonymous with a lot of esports titles. Just speaking a little bit more about the QPL style, you seem to have taken to the regular sort of season of play quite well. Does this weekly format enable you to kind of keep keep your playstyle kind of fresh and avoid any rust in your gameplay?
I mean, kind of. You still, if you really want to take, all the points that you are able to take, then you need to practice a lot still. It's not just this weekly matches you have once and you just play a day before and you're ready for it. It's not how Quake works. You really gotta keep in shape if you really want to win like all the matchups. So far I lost one matchup versus Base, and it only came down to the lack of practice I did that moment, because I had to take kind of a break after Italy, and yeah, so my start wasn't like that good, but I knew what's the reason and catched up in the end again, and just had to clear my mind, and now about to get ready again.
That's super interesting, because I've spoken to a lot of the other players about their sort of practice regimes. What do you kind of do ahead of your weekend games? What's your kind of practice regime like?
I mean, if it's like really important matches like I had last Sunday or coming Sunday, then it's a lot actually. Like at least 3 hours a day, I'd say. There can be a day off. That's like not really a problem, but it shouldn't be like 2 or 3 days off. Then you can feel a little you're out of shape already. So you gotta keep going again, like playing a little more after that break to really get into your feelings again, that you're fully prepared for everything. I mean, that's at least how I think about the whole practice situation.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today, Kilson, and good luck in your game this weekend.